I'm Rob Sarney, and you're listening to What the Heck Fintech, where you'll experience and learn that fintech is fin life. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. We have another unbelievable episode for all you today. We have Ralph Dangermeyer. He is like the king of payments, right? He's been around. He's been doing fintech. He's been in banking. CEO of Blue Snap, Stonehill alum, right? And he's just making it happen. He's guest spoke in my classes at Stonehill. He's doing it all. Right? So you're going to hear things from the ground up. He knows so much going on in fintech. He coaches so many startups. He's worked with so many big industry players. His stories are going to be endless. So this is going to be a great episode for everybody. I know you're going to learn a lot, and I'm going to learn a lot. So Ralph, I mean, how about I'd love to hear a little player profile of yourself. How did you get to where you are right now? Where did you start? Obviously, you went to Stonehill at some level, and but after that, how did you get into this whole fintech payments, everything? Because I'm going to step back now, and I want to hear the stories.
Well, first of all, thanks for the introduction, Rob. But I didn't plan to be the king of payments, so I don't need any no kings rallies right now. Okay, so
yeah, no one wants that.
Oh man. So anyway, but I appreciate the experience. So I went to Stonehill College and I graduated with BA in economics. I started in an engineering program and decided that wasn't for me. And then I was lucky. I had multiple job offers at financial institutions, and I took one at Bank of Boston, which is now Bank of America. And I was able to get into a 1-year training program. And what I was learning was how to become a manager. But really what I was learning was the back office of payments, how checks, wires, ACH payments really worked. And I was lucky because I got that background. I was able to spend about 5 years at the bank helping make payments more efficient. And it was really the very beginning of fintech because we were starting to introduce computers back then and we're starting to automate things. And if you think about fintech, which is financial processing or financial innovation coming together with technology, really to drive efficiency is really what it is. And then I was lucky through my career. There was some major changes. The internet came along, okay, the smartphone came along, and then payments started to get embedded into software platforms, and it became known as it created the e-commerce boom. And then for better or for worse, COVID hit, which changed the world forever on a lot of areas. And I was just happily going through all of that. And I guess like a lot of people say, it was lucky and it was timing. But working hard and building relationships. And I've been now to about 60 countries. I've met over 10,000 people in payments. I've worked with probably 20 startups and founders. I've worked in private companies. I've worked in public companies. I've raised myself over $500 million. I've been involved in over 3 trillion in transactions. So, when you start getting going in payments, there's a lot there that people don't realize. And there's a lot of really specific nuances in payments. And there's still a lot of opportunity out there. And I feel like we're now hitting one, in my view, the 4th generation of payments after what I would call the internet, the smartphone, and e-commerce, AI. And AI is completely going to change, innovate payments like it's going to do everything else. And I think the opportunity for younger people or older people is, how do I embed or use AI in payments? And how do I innovate? What do I do differently? How do I raise money? How do I learn? These are questions I'm getting every day. So it's great to be here. Happy to talk and answer some of those questions. I know when I was guest lecturing in your class, there was a lot of discussion about what is old is new, and I think that's very true here as we embark on this next generation of payments. So that's the short introduction, Rob.
That's a great introduction. So now let's start a little bit from the beginning, right? So for Bank of Boston, right? When was that time frame when you were doing that? Was that I'm older than you, but was it in the 80s?
Yeah, it was 89 to 94 roughly, in that period of time. And to be honest with you, like I said, I want my grandfather, my father, were engineers, and I said, hey, maybe I should be an engineering mind. But I felt like I had a little more of a personality than to be sitting there doing engineering. I just didn't care for it. And then I decided I wanted to go out and do real estate investing, and I was passionate about real estate. And I found out that that was a really bad time. We had a real estate bust in 89 to 93. As a matter of fact, one of my assignments at Bank of Boston was working with what they call OREO properties, which are properties that are taken over by the bank from people in bankruptcy. So it wasn't the time to do that. And I realized how inefficient payments was at the bank and how hard it was to move money around. And I kind of got a knack for solving problems. And that's really, again, there's a lot of definitions of fintech, but it's about solving problems, making things more efficient. So that's when that all started. So I didn't realize I was on that path, but now looking back, I was, and it was a great platform for me to learn how things work.
And now, totally separate question. So, back in the day, did you have a big mullet? Like, what do you have going on? Or a big, fro? What was it?
Yeah, I probably did.
Both of those.
Yeah, you're probably, yeah. I grew a beard one time, but I guess that didn't look good in my suit back in the day. But yeah, that's what it was.
That's good. That's good. So here's interesting thing, like, back in that same time frame, I mean, I was I was the accounts payable payroll supervisor. I was accounts payable for a company called National Catholic Group Purchasing Association. Then I was an accounts payable and payroll supervisor at Ionic. So I was doing payments. I was leveraging all the systems and stuff that you were going to be, the king of soon, right?
Yeah.
So when I got into Fidelity, one of some of the systems areas I managed was the treasury. So we had to do Swift payments and international. That was because the corporate treasury is the checkbook for Fidelity for everything, right? For procurement, for payroll, for buying whatever it is, right? So payments. That was a AAA rated system. We had to keep that thing up and running all the time. And they had to sweep that money at the end of the day. Had to make So all that movement I can appreciate because I kind of grew up when you grew up to advance all this stuff too.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because one of the first companies that I got, the third company I got involved in back in 96, 97, we were building systems for large financial institutions. Now, Fidelity was not a client, but Bank of Boston, Bank of America was, to help them do treasury or move money from their computers that just got involved, so PCs, and how to figure out how to sweep the right amount of money from your operating account to your investment account. When the internet came, we came up with this idea of doing the money movement from your PC to the bank using a dial-up modem. So you didn't have to put software on. Effectively, it was the first version of moving money on the internet in the cloud. We didn't call it that. And our cloud, honestly, was our closet in our office. But that's what it was. And a lot of people thought that was unsafe and it wasn't going to take off, and how crazy it was. And people don't remember the internet crashed in 89 and it was a big deal and there was security issues. But 10 years later, over 60% of the businesses were banking online. And that was from 96 to 07. So Treasury was one of the first places that fintech really had a major impact on a lot of businesses in the United States, exactly what you were discussing.
Yeah, no, that was a big deal. when when 4 o'clock and the music stopped on the market, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we had to get that money out, had to get it, so you don't want your money sitting there. It's a lot of money as the music stops, and you want to get the best rate you can. That could be locally, that could be international, right? It all depends on where the rates are, every night for that overnight rate. And then so you make a little money
that's right.
and you wake up
That's
next
right.
morning and rinse and repeat. Here we go, right? I can't even
All right.
imagine. Did you work with investment banks, which is obviously different than what Fidelity does, because they live and die by that daily rate and moving money all like that.
Yeah, so what we did is we built software that the bank, so KeyBank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, could distribute to businesses so they could operate in the same way someone like Fidelity was. Because
Mm.
these businesses didn't have the sophistication that someone like Fidelity had to get the best use of their cash overnight. So that's the systems that we built. Now, one of the things I think lessons learned is almost everybody said it won't work, it's not stable, the technology is too hard, the internet speeds are too slow, there's security issues. And we just had a big belief that it's all going to get better over time. The technology will improve. And of course, it did. And so we got funded by venture capitalists at the time to build out the product. And we are very disciplined in what we built out and when we released it, who our clients were. And next thing you knew, we had over 80% of the market, the banks, distributing our product to their businesses. And it's still in use today by these companies. The company was sold, and then I became the president of the new company. It was a public company called ACI. And the products still exist. Obviously, better, faster, more features and functionalities, but that demand is there. So, what was the problem, the opportunity? The problem was these businesses had excess cash at the end of the day, or they needed cash at the end of the day, and rates of return were a lot higher than they were recently. And how'd you optimize that cash? And how'd you do it without someone running the bank or calling the bank? And how did you do that in models and sophistication? That was it. And so I always remember that, because I go back and say to myself, when people say things won't work and it's based on technology getting better, I don't think that's a hurdle anymore. Like, AI is going to get better, speeds are going to get faster, security is going to get better. That wasn't really predominant back in the 90s. People were really worried and scared of the internet. Much reminded me of what happened in COVID, where people were really scared and nervous. And I get it. This is something that hit the world. We'd never seen it before. It was probably something like similar to Spanish flu from 100 years ago. But my feeling was, this is a tragic thing that happened, but I figured we've always adapted, and we're probably going to figure a technological solution around this. And so it was a good opportunity, I think, to invest in some companies that were doing well, that were going to do well outside of biotech and healthcare companies. And that's what we ended up doing, advising people on how to build and help companies. Like, let's take Toast, for example. People thought they were going to go out of business and their life was over because nobody was going to ever go to restaurants anymore. Well, ordering ahead and takeout. Guess what? Boom. Now Toast is up, I don't know, hundreds of times since COVID. It's become one of the better investments on Wall Street. So I think just trying to balance views, because I think we tend to tip the scales a little too much one way or another. I was looking at oil the other day. I think oil was under $20 a barrel back then, and now $100 a barrel. But so, you just think it's like, if something gets way out of balance, there's usually a correction coming one way or another. So to your point, that's how that company and product got started and funded.
Yeah, and tech is moving so much faster than it did back in our days, right? Now with AI, think how fast AI is getting adopted, being understood, but and everyone's nervous, and you got the AI bubble. Even if there is an AI bubble, it's going to be short, because there's so much new stuff happening, and we're learning to get better at it with agentic AI and how to do it, and the infrastructure is getting built out more and more and more. So, and because it's not just like turnkey is a lot of, even though we all know data, we all know money movement, but AI is going to take that to a new level. That's a whole nother paradigm to layer on top of. So we have those happen so frictionlessly, and with the right controls and stuff too. So
Yeah. Well,
agree.
let's touch on AI a little bit. I would say probably about a year ago, if I was on this podcast, I probably would have said, yeah, Rob, there's probably going to be an AI bubble. It just makes sense. Things have rocketed up so much. It's there.
Yep.
I'm now of the camp. It's probably not a bubble. It's real. I'm working with several companies as an advisor, and I'm watching them deploy AI in the company or with their products. And it reminds me so much of the beginning of the smartphone, beginning of the internet, and beginning of e-commerce that I just don't see a huge bubble here. I think the impact is real. So let's talk about it a little bit. In AI, you mentioned agentic AI. Well, I believe there's a whole new commerce trend coming, which we're calling in payments agentic commerce. Okay, so let's define what that means for a second, because I think this is really important for your listeners who are trying to figure out how to learn AI and maybe start a business around it.
Mhm.
What's going to happen is there's two parts to agentic commerce, just like regular commerce. There's a shopper or a buyer, and there's a seller, a merchant. Okay, and so how does it impact this? Well, if you think of fintech as always being how do you do more for less or efficiency, we waste a lot of time on the internet shopping, trying to find the best hat, golf club, dress, whatever it may be. Now, with support of Visa, MasterCard, American Express, with support of issuers of cards, Capital One and Chase, you're going to be able to create a shopping bot. Okay? Rob's shopping bot that can buy 3/4 zips, golf balls, rugs, whatever you want to buy. And you're going to go in, you're going to program the shopping bot to look for things that you want, kind of like the way you might use Google Flights today if you use that. Okay. And this shopping bot is going to end up being very sophisticated, and you're going to end up paying $10 or $20 a month for it. If you're maybe a Premier holder on a card, you may get it for free, maybe a new benefit you get on your American Express or Capital One card, just like these lounges in the airports. And you're probably going to use it. And if you're not going to use it, definitely the generations, our younger generations will use it like crazy, because you'll be able to create efficiencies in shopping and you'll be able to maximize what you purchase. So that's definitely coming. You're going to see it out this year. And I think they're saying that 1 or 2% of e-commerce is going to be done by bots. I think that's true. The second piece of this that's coming on the shopper side is, if you want to, now this is a leap for some people, but you can load in all of your past purchases. So you can load in all your purchases on your credit cards, on your debit cards, maybe bank statements, and the AI will start to figure out when it's a new time to buy a golf club, a ski helmet, purchase your ski pass. It can actually figure that out and tell you when the right time to buy something is and what the best deal is. And I don't think that's now, but that's coming over the next few years. So it's like, wow. The other thing it's going to do is, if you are like me and you have multiple credit cards and you get this percentage off when you rent from Avis Rent a Car, and when you go to this when you go to this restaurant you get extra points, or when you buy this on your American Express card you get certain money back. I mean, all these crazy offers you get, it's hard to keep track of them, to knowing which card to use what, right? You got to kind of look it up. Well, the agentic commerce shopping bot will tell you, hey, Rob, you're at this restaurant. You should be using this card because that gives you the maximum points and benefits. But right now, that's an incredibly complex computation that people do in their heads. So these things will do three things. It will shop for you. It will optimize your checkout on what to use. And it will eventually predict when you need to start buying a new, whatever it is based on usage. It's a little scary, but I think people are going to jump right in, kind of like this ocean right behind me.
Please come back to part 2 with Ralph Dalgemeier as he goes deeper into what will shopping look like in the future, how will stablecoin impact payments, what is going on in Europe in regulation and payments, and how he coaches startups. Thank you for listening to What the Heck, Fintech. Make sure you tune into our next episode as we continue to interview fintech leaders and share real-world stories from across the fintech ecosystem so you can fully understand that fintech is fin life.